Hi, I'm Audrey. I was born in a crazy family in New York. Please like and subscribe. My Mexican mom was so proud of her language that she never wanted to learn better English. Dad would say mean things with a smile to fool her all the time, and I hated it.
Wow, this stew tastes like mud. What did you do to it, you insane woman?
What you telling me? Do you like?
Estoy contenta.
As a kid, I never had the courage to tell Mom what a jerk he was, cause I knew she'd be sad. But every time he did that and smirked at me, I knew that Mom would soon catch on to his words, and it would end bad. And over time, Mom learned more English from her neighbor friend, and she realized that all these years Dad had just been giving her hatred. Their fights got bigger, and one day, when I was in the 7th grade, Mom finally decided she wanted a divorce. When I had to choose a parent, of course, I chose Mom. We took off to Mexico that same night. Mom, are we going to Grandma's?
Oh, Misha, amor.
Grandma moved away a long time ago, but we have a new loving family here.
A new family? The cab stopped at a huge mansion, and a strange man ran towards us and hugged Mom. He also said something to me, but I didn't get a word. Mom then took me to a room, and it was all ready for me. Mom, what's going on? Who's this man? As Mom started telling her secrets one by one, I kept sinking deeper into the bed.
That's Carlos, and he used to be my boyfriend long ago. If your grandma hadn't forced me to marry your dad, we would have been a big, happy family already. And you know what? He has a son your age, Matthew.
What was I just hearing? Mom, I left my school, my friends, my whole life in New York for you, and you created your own family here and didn't even tell me about it? How could you keep all this from me? She kept explaining, but I just asked her to leave the room and slammed my door hard. It was so much to take in, and I just wanted to cry. Suddenly, I heard a loud, non-stop knocking on my door. Who is that? Okay, wait, stop that, I'm coming. I opened the door to find a boy standing outside grinning at me. Who are you, man? Lost your way?
Shouldn't I be asking you that? But your mama. Well, now our mama said,
Matthew, go meet your sister.
so here I am, Hermana.
What? Whatever, don't call me that.
Mama didn't teach you Spanish? Also, I heard New Yorkers are very stylish. But look at you, you're worse than my ex-girlfriend. Hey, that's a joke, okay? Don't cry.
Can you do me a favor and please get the heck out of here? I made him leave, but he left loads of mud on the carpet. That night at dinner, Mom introduced me to everyone, and Carlos even made a toast to me. But after that, they all started talking in Spanish. Was I invisible? I stood up to leave. Then Mom held my hand.
Where are your manners? We're having family time.
Family? You all are clearly a family, Mama. Excluding me. I don't even understand your language.
Oh, Misha, amor.
Just use the language of love. It's easy, try it.
Mom, can't you see I feel so left out? But you're just joking about it. I shook her hand off and walked up to my room. The next day, I was joining school and thought at least that would give me some relief. Until Matthew came and sat right next to me. Holy moly!
Hey, better not tell anyone we're related. And can you please wax your mustache? People will think you're me.
It's not my problem you've got a girly face. He hit my face with a book, and suddenly the teacher yelled,
What's going on there?
Ma'am, can you believe it? She's asking me to be her boyfriend. But I told her, I already have eyes for you.
I was sure the teacher was going to kick him out now, but to my surprise, she giggled.
Oh, stop it, you.
What? Who was this boy? Soon I realized Matthew was the coolest kid in school. All the girls and even the teachers adored him for his crazy jokes. Not me! I hated him even more because he spoke in Spanish with Mom every time I was around. I felt like an alien in the house. That Christmas, Carlos was gonna host a grand party, but I wasn't interested. I think I have an important exam that day, and in the evening, I have dance practice.
Liar! We don't have any exams on Christmas. And dance practice. You can barely walk.
Ugh, I was gonna kill him. Seeing Mom and Carlos's faces, I could tell they wanted me to attend. So I reluctantly said yes. And the party wasn't that bad. I got to meet a handsome boy, Leo.
Hey, I know you must already have a boyfriend because you're so pretty. But I have to say, you have the most dreamy eyes. I've been watching you for hours.
OMG, that made me blush. Thanks. Actually, I don't have a boyfriend. Yet we exchanged numbers and started hanging out. He seemed really cool. But one day, when Leo and I were having lunch in the school cafeteria, Matthew appeared out of the blue and pulled me aside.
Have you gone mad? Why are you sitting with that jerk?
He's not a jerk. He's my friend. Maybe future boyfriend. And why do you care anyway?
Listen, he's not a good guy. He flirts with everyone, and God knows how many girlfriends he has.
Look, who's talking? The one who flirts with teachers. Just leave me alone, okay? I can handle my own life. I knew he just wanted to spoil my first real relationship, so I ignored him and left with Leo. After that, we started going out more often. One evening, Leo invited me to his house for a party, and I was having a great time. As we were dancing, Leo suddenly pulled me closer, and my heart skipped a beat.
Oh, Hermosa, thank God you flew all the way from New York just for me.
He held my face, and we kissed. Suddenly, someone kicked Leo hard, and he went flying into a wall. Matthew, what are you doing here?
Just protecting you from this virus.
He took my hand and started walking out, but I pushed him away. You crazy idiot! You're the virus that's destroying my life. Why can't you just let me breathe?
Breathe all you want, but see this first.
He took out his phone and showed me Leo's Instagram page. It had a video of me and him kissing under the caption, 100th kiss from a New York chick. The page had videos of him kissing 99 other girls too. It looked like one of Leo's friends here had been making our video and was broadcasting it live for him. I jumped on Leo and scratched his face.
Ah, the New York chick has gone crazy like her mad brother. Someone save me!
Shut your dirty mouth! I trusted you, you mud mind. And I started pulling his hair like crazy. Matthew gave him a nice punch and then took me home. I felt really embarrassed for not listening to Matthew before. He'd only been looking out for me. So the next day at school, I sat next to him.
Not so worried about this life-destroying virus now, yeah?
I realized it's better to have him as a friend than an enemy. I thanked him for the night before, and he just laughed and hit my face with a book again. As days passed, we became good friends. I also decided to talk to Carlos and Mom and apologize for being so neglectful. But they surprised me instead.
Princesa,
We have some exciting news for you.
Sí, mija.
Your 15th birthday is coming. And here in Mexico, we call it
Quinceañera?
But why do you want to do this for me? You know, after I've been, well, not so nice.
'Cause we're family, estúpida.
And you're no less than Matthew to me. I want to do this for my daughter.
I felt so stupid for not seeing this before. These people really cared about me, just like the family I'd always wanted. On the day of the party, I could already hear music and people laughing and talking. As I got ready, I walked out all dressed in their traditional way, and everyone clapped for me. Just then, Matthew barged into the room looking mad.
Stop the party, Papa. This girl doesn't deserve any of this love and attention.
What?
Matthew, calm down. Audrey is your...
Nothing. She's my nothing, Papa.
What's gotten into you, man? I was horrified when I saw what he had in his hand. It was my diary. Oh my God, no!
After all this effort we've been making for you, this is what you really think of us? You suck.
Matthew, enough. What are you talking about?
Oh, let me read it out loud, Papa. This place is hell on earth. I hate their food, their language, this house. Carlos is so loud and annoying. Why is he so desperate to be my dad? Probably because his own son is a loser with half a brain. They're both stupid and I deserve better.
There was a pin-drop silence as everyone stared at me. You should have never taken my diary, you jerk. And yes, I wrote this, but that's when I first came here. I was having a really hard time adjusting. I was just mad, and I didn't really mean it. This is not how I feel now, Carlos. Mom, I promise, I really like being part of this family.
You're not part of this family, Audrey, and you never will be.
And before I could stop myself, I said the stupidest thing ever. Oh, shut up, Matthew. You're not part of this family either, 'cause you're adopted. It was something Mom had told me once, and Matthew didn't know about it. Now he did, because I just blurted it out. Carlos turned white, and Mom looked raging mad.
What a lame thing to say, Audrey. As if. Tell her, Papa. Papa, why do you look like that?
Oh, Matthew, I meant to tell you. On your 16th birthday. I promised I was going to, son.
Matthew looked stunned. Carlos walked over to him, but suddenly he just pushed him aside and ran out. Carlos went after him while Mom turned to me.
I raised you better than this, Audrey. but it seems you're more like your dad, hurting good people for no reason. Hurting your family. I'm so disappointed in you. Party's over, everyone.
As the guests started leaving, I ran to my room in tears. I felt terrible. Even if Matthew had read my diary, I'd done something 10 times worse. And the next day, I was back to being the alien of the house. Nobody was talking to me, and I deserved it. Matthew wouldn't even look at me in school. Anytime I went near him, he walked the other way. I tried for days to make it up to him. One evening, I sneaked into his room, finished his history paper, and left it on his desk. When he came home, he took one look at it, tore it up, and threw it in the trash. Then I had an idea for a gift that I was sure would make him forgive me. I used all my savings to get him a signed basketball from his favorite player. But when I looked into his room later, I was horrified to find him slashing it with a paper cutter. Oh my God, what are you doing? This was signed by...
I don't care. I just want you to stop doing things for me and stay out of my face.
How do I make you believe that I'm really sorry, Matthew? I'll say it in Spanish. Lo siento mucho.
There's nothing you can ever say or do that will make things okay. Now please, get lost.
It just looked like things were ruined between us for good. But one evening, I was walking a few blocks away from our house when I saw two boys wearing masks drag Matthew into an alley and start beating him up. I charged at them while screaming, and with the baseball bat I had, I hit one of the boys straight in the knee while the other one ran away. Leo, don't you dare touch my brother again, estúpida. I left him there crying on the ground and helped Matthew up. He leaned on me as we walked back home. And as soon as we entered, Mom and Carlos cried out.
Oh my God, what happened?
Papa, I'm fine, really. Thanks to Audrey. But why were you going around with a baseball bat anyway?
I've been following you everywhere for days, Matthew. Leo came up to me a week ago and said he would do something to make you pay for exposing him at his party. I knew you wouldn't really listen to me, so I had to do something. I couldn't let you get hurt. I've done a pretty good job of that myself. Suddenly, Carlos stepped forward and hugged me.
Mija, amor.
You saved my son today, and I want to forget everything else. I know you didn't mean those things.
And I'm okay about knowing about the adoption, Audrey. It came as a shock, but Dad and I have talked a lot about it since, and I'm fine. It doesn't really change anything. You don't always have to be related to be family.
I understand that now, and I'm so happy Mom brought me to you guys. I'm sorry about everything. And Carlos, you're the dad every girl wants to have. I love you! Carlos had tears and hugged me. Mom did too.
Don't forget me.
Hi, my name is Scarlett, and I'm from New Jersey. I was born to loving parents just 3 years after my older sister Aurora. The whole family celebrated my birth, and Aurora and I were inseparable. She always had me glued to her, and we did everything together. But as I got older, our parents realized something was wrong with me. I couldn't hear them. I only reacted if they spoke really loudly or really close to me. They rushed me to the doctor, and we found out that I had a problem in my ears that made me nearly 70% deaf. A surgery would fix this issue, but I had to be much older to go through it safely. So I grew up deaf in a world full of sound. While Aurora enjoyed music, laughter, and went to school like everyone else, my parents decided to homeschool me with an army of special tutors.
There's schools for kids just like her?
Yes, but she's our special girl, and we want to give her all our attention.
Aurora had a life I dreamed of every day. She got to have heaps of friends while I was too scared to talk to the kids in my neighborhood. I once got jealous watching Aurora dance to music. My parents went out of their way to make me feel better. They bragged about me all the time.
Scarlett is beautiful, and she's a genius. She did her speech therapy in record time.
Mom, I taught my entire grade. Look at my report card.
That's nice, dear. Scarlett can lip read too, you know. Show them. It's such a fun game.
I got ready to show off my skills, but Aurora suddenly got up, threw her report card on the table, and ran into her room. What was the matter with her? I was too wrapped up in my life to understand it. But Aurora started having little meltdowns all the time. She hated that my parents always let me choose our vacation spots, choose where to eat, and bought me anything I pointed at. When Aurora asked for the same things, my parents just told her to share mine.
That's not fair. Why can't I have what she has?
We can share. I have like 100 clothes.
I'm talking to Mom!
I didn't want Aurora to hate me, so I sent her some pretty dresses as a gift. She sent them back to me, all cut up in pieces. Are you kidding me? When I reached the 7th grade, I was finally ready to get my surgery, and all my parents could do was worry about it. Even I was a little scared, but Aurora couldn't care less. She was a school topper and a cheerleader now. She was also best friends with the richest girl in town, Kat. Her dad was so powerful, he employed half the adults here. Aurora spent all her time lounging in Kat's huge pool house. Even though Kat was the worst, she was super mean and controlling. She even gave her friends strict guidelines on how to dress. One time, Aurora wore the wrong shoes with an evening dress, and her friends ditched her. Kat is a moron. You shouldn't be friends with her.
Mind your own business, turd.
I still hoped that Aurora and I would be normal sisters after my surgery. But the day I went to the hospital, she didn't even show up. I went into the hospital with my heart burning with anger. If Aurora didn't care about me, then I didn't care about her anymore. When I woke up from surgery, I couldn't stop weeping. My parents' voices, the doctor's voices, and my own voice. Everything was setting me off. It took time and effort, but with my parents' support and therapy, I slowly got used to living in a sea of sound. On my first day of joining regular school, my heart was hammering. I'd literally taken my first few steps into the hallway when I saw the most beautiful girl in the entire world just casually standing by the lockers. She was looking right at me, and her mouth was moving. I read her lips without even trying. Did you just say I'm pretty?
What? How did you hear that?
I have good ears. I'm Scarlett.
I'm Marina.
I shook her hand, and my heart wanted to dance. She was actually gonna be in my classes. School was exciting. It was a little weird making friends when I could still lip read. I was only 40% accurate, but that was enough to accidentally see some awkward things. I just pretended I knew nothing. But one day I saw two of our teachers talking, and I couldn't help but stare. They were talking about giving us a surprise test tomorrow. Well, it wouldn't be fair if I just prepared alone, right? So I told everyone in my class what was going to happen. Marina looked really surprised.
But how did you know?
I can lip read, just a little bit. I used to be deaf.
Wow, really?
A literal crowd jumped on me all of a sudden. People had a million questions about my life. Everyone wanted to play the lip reading game. They would mouth dumb things at me, and I had to guess. Banana olive juice? No, I love you. Aw, you're just saying. La 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 la. The whole class was rolling in laughter. I had no idea I was so fun. By the end of the day, I got invited to 3 different sleepovers. I was really enjoying my new popularity. Until one day when I learned a secret I couldn't forget. Aurora was hanging out with Kat and a gang of cheerleaders, and I saw them mouthing the words spray paint and plan. That made me curious, so I sneaked closer to them to hear what they were saying. Kat was planning to vandalize the school building this weekend, and she was making her friends help her. When I reached home, I went into Aurora's room to talk to her alone. I know what Kat is planning to do this weekend.
You little sneak! How did you know? Did you lip read us?
It doesn't matter. You can't go spray painting buildings with her. She's gonna get you in trouble.
Mind your own business.
Why do you let that jerk push you around?
That jerk's dad is literally our dad's boss. She's really powerful.
So let her get in trouble alone. She refused to listen to me. I didn't know what to do. But I couldn't let her get mixed up with that awful girl anymore. So I told my parents what she was about to do. Her bully of a friend is gonna make her vandalize the school. My parents were furious at Aurora. They yelled at her and then grounded her for the next 2 weeks.
You told on me. Isn't it enough that you're our parents' favorite? You just had to do this.
Aurora, if you get caught, you could get suspended or even expelled.
As if you care about what happens to me. Stay out of my life.
Aurora shut me out hard. After that, she ignored me at home and in school. That Monday, the principal announced that Kat and her group had been caught ruining school property, and they all got suspended. I thought that would soften Aurora's temper, but she still didn't want to talk to me. I couldn't stay upset about it for too long, because one day I opened my lockers to see flowers and a note inside. It was from Marina.
Too shy to say it in person, but ever since we met, I can't stop thinking about you. Want to go out with me?
I was so happy I was gonna faint. A real-life fairy just asked me out. I texted her yes and literally floated on air for days. I was so nervous on my first ever date that my hands were shaking. I even spilled a soda all over us. But that was the moment she chose to surprise me and kissed me. She was just perfect. Marina was funny, clever, and even my parents loved her. Our relationship was pure and blissful until we reached the 9th grade, and she finally introduced me to her mom. That was instant hate. Her mom didn't want her dating a girl, and it showed. She asked Marina to dump me, and when she didn't, she started ignoring her. She bought her siblings presents and took them to dinners. But she purposefully left Marina out. I hated to see Marina upset, and I foolishly thought if her mom got to know me, she'd like me. So, for Marina's birthday, I set up a family picnic in the park as a surprise. But Marina's mom spent the whole time bragging about her siblings.
My son has a new job, and my eldest daughter is going to college with a scholarship. I'm so proud of you both.
Mom, I won an art contest last month.
Art contest? Ha ha! Sounds lame. Your sister won a science scholarship.
Bitter tears filled Marina's eyes, and she stormed off in a huff. She worked hard on that contest, and you called it lame just to hurt her. You're insane! I went after Marina and saw her weeping, and suddenly it reminded me of Aurora getting ignored by our parents. Unlike Marina's mom, my parents didn't give me more attention to hurt Aurora. But the end result looked exactly the same. My parents were wrong for how they treated Aurora. I was just too mad at her for not being there for me, and I couldn't see it until now. Aurora still avoided me at home and at school, but it finally made sense to me, and we didn't speak again until the evening of the spring dance. Marina and I wore the prettiest dresses and were so excited to go to our first dance together. But we'd only been there for an hour when Marina's mom showed up.
What are you doing here?
Just wanted to see all the handsome boys you rejected to date this rude girl. That one. Oh, that one.
Mom, stop it. You can't be here.
You can't date this girl. She called your own mother insane.
That's because you are insane.
People were staring at us, and someone even turned the music down.
My daughter never spoke to me this way before you came along. I hate you.
Her mom picked up the bowl of punch, and she was gonna throw it at me. I prepared myself for the splash, but suddenly, Aurora flew in between us and pushed her away. Marina's mom went flying back right into a table of food. The entire hall watched her in pin-drop silence before exploding into whispers and laughter.
Call the principal. His students attacked me. They're crazy.
The teachers were furious at Aurora for pushing her and disrupting the dance. They gave her 6 weeks of detention and called our parents to pick us up. When we got home, they tried to yell at Aurora, but I stopped them. Marina's mom deserves everything she got. You should be proud of Aurora for standing up for me.
She stood up for you this one time. Before this, she was planning to vandalize buildings. And before that, she was constantly fighting with you.
That's you. Your fault, not hers. Yeah, you heard me. You were so eager to make me feel good, you ignored Aurora since we were kids. That's why she hated me.
We may have given you more attention, but we loved you both equally.
No way. You acted like I didn't even matter. Nothing I ever did was good enough for your praise, while you wrote actual songs about Scarlet.
Aurora, you were healthy. Topping your classes, cheerleading, making friends. You didn't need us as much as she did.
That's not true. I was upset. Making friends with bullies and getting into trouble. I would be suspended or expelled if it weren't for Scarlet. I'm a mess. If you loved me as much as you loved Scarlet, you would have seen that.
Aurora burst into tears while my parents looked stunned.
We did take your achievements for granted. And yes, we were more worried about your sister. But we love you both the same.
Then why don't you act like it?
We didn't want Scarlet to be jealous of your life. We worried about her getting hurt in a million ways, but that's not an excuse. If we let you think for even a second that we didn't love you, then we really messed up. I'm so sorry, Aurora.
We love you both more than our own lives. We're sorry we haven't shown it. We'll do better from now on.
Aurora grabbed my parents in a hug, and I wiped my tears off and joined them too. Hi, I'm Layla from Washington, and I have a really personal story to share today. But before I do, please like and subscribe. My mom gave birth to identical twin daughters, me and my sister Elise. So, of course, my parents dressed us in the same clothes and braided our hair with matching ribbons. But people could easily tell us apart for one reason. Elise was born with a minor facial distortion. Her eyes were a little lopsided, and her mouth was almost as low as her chin. I, on the other hand, looked like a freaking porcelain doll. And everywhere we went, people would ooh and ah at me. She's just too lovely to be real.
Wow, look at those brown eyes.
I have the same color eyes. But everyone ignored Elise, and it really got to her. I kept telling her she was just as pretty as me, but she wouldn't hear a word of it. And as years passed, my sister grew to hate me. Elise did everything she could to make me feel as sad and angry as she felt. She'd spread rumors about me at school, steal my diary, and once she'd tried to shave off my eyebrows. I was living in fear, 24/7. Worst of all, my parents didn't take it that seriously.
I'll take away her electronics for a week.
That's not enough, Dad. Elise is trying to ruin my life. What if she tries to seriously hurt me?
Oh, Layla, that's silly. Elise is just going through a phase and we would never let her harm you.
They didn't understand, and when I turned 14, things really turned upside down. One afternoon, I came home from school to find Elise in the living room with my parents, and they looked furious with me.
How could you do something like that, Layla?
What are you talking about?
Elise said you locked her in the closet for an hour. We heard her calling for us.
What? Just then, I saw Elise, and she was smirking at me.
I just don't think I feel safe around Layla anymore, Mommy. How can I trust her after what she did?
Guys, she's framing me. She locked herself up in the closet.
And why would she do that? That's just twisted, Layla.
Didn't my parents see how crazy Elise was? Not one of them talked to me that night. They all watched Luna Avatar with a bowl of popcorn while I stayed in my room. But the next morning, my parents did the unthinkable. They made me move into the guest house.
It was Elise's idea. You two need space away from each other. We can't have this negativity in the house.
So you're kicking me out? What, because I trapped her in the closet? I told you guys I didn't do it.
It doesn't matter who did it. The point is, you two are toxic for each other right now. And at the moment, Elise needs our attention more than you do. You have more friends and the world at your fingertips. It's just for a short time, Layla.
I was speechless. I was being punished for literally nothing, and it was all Elise's fault. I moved into our guest house that evening and didn't speak to any of my family members. In fact, I continued to ignore them for the next several months. Sure, it was clear Elise was much happier without me in the house. She made more friends and even picked up a few hobbies. But I was still bubbling with anger. One day, I was coming out of the supermarket when I saw a homeless boy outside with dyed turquoise hair. I immediately pulled out a bag of bananas and some change, but he just laughed.
Whoa, do I look like a beggar?
If I'm being honest,
These clothes are just really old.
I still insisted that he keep the bananas, and the two of us ended up having lunch together. I found out the boy's name was Easton, and he lived in an apartment down the block. He was also an absolute sweetheart. I told Easton all about my home situation and Elise's issues with me, and he had a brilliant idea.
Pretend to run away from home, leave at midnight, and leave a note. Turn off the location services on your phone, and you can stay at my place. They'll get so scared they'll beg you to move back in with them. They might even finally punish your jerk sister.
I was sold. My whole family deserved a little scare, so that night, I sent a text to both my parents to tell them my plans and switched my location to private. I spent the next 2 nights at Easton's apartment. His family was really poor, and I had to sleep on a torn cot, but I felt fantastic. My parents were probably going crazy.
Maybe they think you joined a gang.
Or they think I'm pregnant and ran off to get married. Unfortunately, the fun didn't last long. The next morning, my parents burst into Easton's apartment with several cops. They hugged me and cried for a moment, but then they were furious.
Why would you scare us like this? We had no idea what was going on.
Sorry, but you kicked me out for no reason, and then neglected me for 6 months. I needed to teach you a lesson.
Teach us a lesson? Layla, we know the living situation isn't perfect, and we know we haven't been giving you as much attention, but just disappearing like you did. That's crazy behavior. Come with us right this second.
After that, Mom let me move back into the house, but she watched me like a dog. Elise even suggested I shouldn't leave home without her escorting me, and my parents agreed. Luckily, I could still hang out with Easton, who was the only person who seemed to care about me, And it turned out we'd even be going to the same high school next month. On my first day of 9th grade, I was in gym class when Easton started jogging next to me.
Whoa there, you look ready to faint. Here, take some of my water.
Oh God, is it that obvious?
Don't worry, you still look lovely, even though you're drenched in sweat.
Easton smiled at me as I drank from his water, and I felt a little weak in the knees. And not just because I was tired. I saw Elise glare at me as she jogged by, but I didn't care. As months passed, Easton and I just got closer, and whenever Elise was mean, he always defended me.
You can make fun of Layla's dress all you want, but she's the one who got a party invitation, and you didn't.
Secretly, I had the biggest crush on Easton, but I was way too chicken to ever tell him. I was just grateful to have a best friend. It was exhausting living with a bully 24/7. Then, one day, when I came home from school, my parents gave me shocking news. They'd found a plastic surgeon to fix Elise's facial distortion. They couldn't completely get rid of it, but I'd never seen my sister so happy.
I felt so ugly my whole life, Layla. I know it sounds shallow, but I can't wait to be as beautiful as you.
Elise, look at me. You've never been ugly. But if getting this surgery makes you feel more confident, then I support you. Elise started to cry then and hugged me. I stayed with her in the surgery room the entire time, and she even apologized for how she treated me. And I was glad. I was ready to give up our crazy fighting. After Elise's surgery, things changed between us. Elise didn't seem jealous of me anymore, and even started hanging out with me and Easton. Then, one day, I walked into my front yard and almost had a heart attack. Elise was kissing Easton. Hey, does someone want to tell me what's going on here?
Well...
Layla, I've been meaning to tell you. Easton and I like each other, and I asked him out.
I felt like I was gonna throw up. I pulled Elise aside angrily. How could you do this to me? Elise, I love him and you know it.
I know you love him, and I'm sorry. But I've been hanging out with Easton for a couple of weeks, and we have a connection.
How could you do this to me? Elise, I love him and you know it.
Layla, I'm not trying to hurt you. I really like Easton, and I just want to be happy for once.
I can't take this anymore. You made me miserable for 14 years, and then got me kicked out of my own house and convinced Mom to basically ground me for 24/7. This is the last straw. I stormed off and blocked Easton on all social media. He kept calling me to apologize and tell me that him dating Elise wouldn't change our friendship, but I refused to speak to him. The next day at school, I decided it was time for overdue revenge. The first thing I did was attach a bucket of paint to the cafeteria doorway, and when Elise walked in with Easton, pink splashed all over them. Everyone laughed like crazy, and I felt great. I got suspended for a day, but it was worth it, and I didn't stop there. That entire month, I pulled every prank I could think of on them at school, putting spiders in their locker and gluing their butts to the classroom chairs. I felt guilty for being a jerk, but Elise deserved it, didn't she? And Easton was dating my sister, who bullied me my whole life. Then one day, I was studying in the courtyard when Easton walked over to me, and he looked furious.
I've had it with you, Layla. Your jealousy has turned you insane. All the kids at school now are terrified of you.
What do you mean? I've done nothing to anyone, except you and Elise.
Really? Because the bucket of paint from your prank got all over the cafeteria floor, and one kid tripped and sprained his ankle. I'm sorry you're hurt about me dating Elise, but it happened organically. Our feelings for each other had nothing to do with you. I know you're hurt, but don't become a bully because of it.
Easton walked off, and I thought about what he said. Maybe Elise wasn't trying to hurt me, and her falling for Easton was just a coincidence. Maybe I could just be happy for her. So that week, I did everything I could to make things right with people. I volunteered to help as many kids as I could with homework, and they'd know I wasn't a monster. And I apologized to Elise and Easton, and surprisingly, they forgave me. On Friday night, Elise and Easton were celebrating their 1-month anniversary at the beach. So I told Elise I'd deliver them a picnic basket. But when I got there, Elise was sitting alone in the sand, and she was crying. Hey, what's wrong? Where's Easton?
He's not here, Layla. He's not coming.
Did you guys break up?
No, because we never dated. It was all fake. I even paid Easton monthly and used up all my savings. I wanted to make you jealous.
Wait, what? I don't understand.
I thought that after my surgery, people would start treating me differently because my face looked better. I thought I'd finally get as much attention as you. But because my distortion isn't totally fixed, I didn't. And that made me angry. But I can't do this to you anymore. I feel horrible.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Elise kept apologizing, but I couldn't even look at her. I didn't want revenge. I just didn't want to deal with her anymore. Things completely changed between us after that. My sister and I both cut contact with Easton and became strangers to each other. It broke my heart, but I didn't know what else to do. We were toxic for each other. Before we knew it, high school ended, and we both went our separate ways. A couple of years later, I was walking around my university campus when I got a phone call.
Layla, it's Easton. I know we haven't spoken in years, but I need your help. My parents lost their house and are homeless. I'm doing everything I can to help them, but I'm desperate. I'm calling everyone I know for either money or food.
My stomach was in knots. I still hated Easton for what he did, but he was obviously in a crisis. So I bought a bunch of food and clothes and arrived at the homeless shelter.
God, you're an angel. I can't thank you enough.
I'm not doing this for you. It's for your parents. And I never want to see you after this. Do you understand?
Yes, what I did to you was unforgivable. Can I just tell you one thing? I never wanted to go through with Elise's fake dating plan. The only reason I agreed to it was because my family's been struggling since I was a kid. I was always terrified we'd end up living on the streets. It's still no excuse, especially because I was in love with you.
My head started spinning. I had no idea Easton had been suffering that much, and I had no idea that he loved me. I decided it was time to smooth things over. That night, I went right home and convinced my parents to give Easton's family a loan, and then I asked if they could invite Elise for dinner.
Oh, sweetie, that's a wonderful idea. She's doing well these days, but she talks about you a lot.
For some reason, I was happy to hear that. When Elise came over, she immediately ran to hug me.
Layla, I'm so glad you're here. Actually, I got you some presents.
Elise handed me a huge gift bag, and to my shock, she bought me all kinds of expensive presents. Perfume, jewelry, and even a brand new iPad.
None of this makes up for how I've treated you over the years. But I love you, Layla. And if you ever want to have a relationship, I'm here.
Thanks, Elise. That means a lot. You did really hurt me. But it has been a couple of years. I can't forgive you overnight. But this is a good start.
I also know you got in touch with Easton. If you ever want to date him, you have my blessing. It's a possibility. But
first, I want to make things right with you. Though, of course, Elise invited Easton over later and left us alone on our porch.
I'm really glad you and Elise made up. Do you think you can ever forgive me? Layla, I never really got over you.
Wow, I didn't know that. But it will take me some time to trust you again.
I understand that. I'm willing to wait as long as it takes.
Hi, I'm Emery, and this is my story. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. When I was a kid, my parents always fought a lot. Mom got so fed up that she yanked me out of bed one night and snuck me out the door. Mom, I'm sleepy. I want to go to bed.
Shh. Quiet.
The next thing you know, we'd moved to a tiny apartment in a strange town, and I hated it. I screamed and cried for Mom to take us back home. Take me back! This is whack! I tried reaching out to my dad, but he was always too busy. That made me sad. But Mom found ways to cheer me up. Eventually, I got used to our new place, and hanging out with Mom was pretty cool. After a while, Mom met someone new. Soon they were married, and we moved into a new house. My stepdad was nice, but his daughter was a witch.
Hey, Naomi, welcome your new mom and stepsister.
Welcome them. You, Dad, they're poor. Why are we keeping them here and feeding them? They're disgusting and gross.
Haha, she's just kidding. She's a little shy. She's a sweetheart once you get to know her.
Naomi was the worst. She threw ketchup in my face, turned the lights off when I was reading, tossed my clothes out the window, and stole all my toys. I tried to tell my mom what was going on.
Hey babe, we're guests here. Naomi is a bit spoiled, but we have to learn to accept her.
Thank God Naomi and I didn't go to the same school. Naomi went to an expensive school for brats, and I begged my mom and stepdad to let me stay at my old school. But a few years later, things took a turn. My stepdad's company lost a ton of money and he couldn't keep up with the bills.
Girls, money is tight, so we'll have to enroll both of you in public school.
Public school? No!
Naomi threw the biggest tantrum and refused to eat for a week. Though I caught her sneaking cookies from the kitchen at night. On the first day of school, Naomi acted like a total spoiled brat.
Hey everyone! You may see this girl talking to me, but that doesn't mean we're related. She's just our maid.
No, she's our maid.
No, she's our maid.
No, she is our maid.
No, she's our maid.
Naomi and I fought all the time. We shouted at each other in the hallway, had a food fight in the cafeteria, and one time during science class, we started shoving each other and accidentally hurt the teacher who was trying to separate us. She ended up with a broken nose. The kids thought we were insane. Neither of us had any friends. I mean, I couldn't blame them. Naomi was a crazy witch and I'm cool, but shy and weird and insecure and invisible. So yeah, after weeks of being outcasts, we grew a bit closer. Just a bit. Because we were lonely, and we only had each other. Then one day in first grade, our parents sat us down to give us some news.
We're gonna have a baby.
Oh really? That's cool!
A baby? Why would you go and do a stupid thing like that?
The baby came and my parents were so happy.
A beautiful little boy.
Isn't he precious? Let's call him Sam.
I fell in love with Sam immediately, even though he was annoying. He cried a lot and peed all over the place. Naomi avoided Sam like the plague. She'd lock herself in her room and only came out to eat.
Look at his stupid, dirty face. Oh my god. Why is he throwing food everywhere?
I played with Sam every day.
You're so good with him. Honey, could you watch Sam while Dad and I run some errands?
Sure, no problem. As time went on, Mom and Dad started leaving him with me all the time. Eventually, I was Sam's permanent babysitter. When Sam turned 2, he turned into a maniac. He drew on the walls with crayons, smashed an expensive vase, and poured milk in my dad's office drawer. And they blamed me every time.
That vase cost a fortune. I'm taking it out of your allowance.
But it's not my fault.
I told you so.
Told me what?
That the brat was a bad idea. It's only gonna get worse.
And Naomi was right. One day, I had a huge chemistry test and told my parents way in advance that I needed to study. But they still shoved Sam in my face and just left. I'd had enough. I dropped Sam off in Naomi's room and headed out the door.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm done with this family. I'm out of here.
You can't just leave me with this thing.
Watch me. Look, Sammy, she has cookies. Sam grabbed Naomi and I walked out the door.
Ah, no, get away. Leave me alone. Help.
I hopped on the bus and went straight to my dad's. He was out of town when I got there, so his maid let me in. For the first time in a long time, I had peace and quiet. My mom and stepdad freaked out when they found out I'd left, but I refused to come back. In school the next day, Naomi ran up to me looking crazy.
I can't take it. Please come back home.
I thought you hated me?
I do, but Sam's a demon. He tore up all my clothes and flushed my makeup down the toilet.
Sounds like you're getting a taste of your own medicine. I turned to walk away, but then Naomi started bawling like a big baby.
Please, I'll do anything. Just come back home.
Okay, maybe I'll come back, but on one condition. You have to do what I say when I ask.
No way. I'm not your maid.
You won't be my maid. You'll be my assistant.
That's even worse.
Take it or leave it. Naomi reluctantly agreed. But even if she hadn't, I'd have moved back anyway because I missed my little Sam. The thought of him being ignored by my shallow parents and selfish Naomi made me sick to my stomach. I moved back in, and whenever our parents left us with Sam, I'd set up a schedule, so Naomi and I shared the responsibilities. Things were great for a while, but they took a turn. When Sam turned 10, he stole my mom's diamond ring and gave it to his classmate to impress her.
A pretty ring for a pretty girl?
Are you crazy? I can't take this.
Sam got so mad he punched the girl in the face. Then he sold Mom's ring to his friend.
I'll give it to you for $50.
40!
Deal!
One day, Sam's teacher called my parents in for a meeting. Of course, they were too busy to go and sent me and Naomi instead.
We came because our parents have leukemia.
Oh my god!
No, she means anemia.
No, I think I meant amnesia. They're getting old and crazy.
They're just sick, and we came instead of them. Can you tell us what the problem is?
Sam gave one of his classmates a black eye. He broke a window, and he's been terrorizing the other students.
When we got home, I went straight to Sam's room. We need to talk about what's going on with you in school.
I'm busy.
If you keep this up, you might get expelled.
Get out!
Sam slammed the door in my face. He was very stubborn, but I wanted to help him. When my mom and stepdad came back that night, Naomi and I told them everything.
but it's those mean kids. They hate me. And they're always making fun of me because I don't have nice things.
Oh, darling, we're so sorry.
We'll buy you new clothes.
Then Mom took Sam on a shopping spree. I couldn't believe they fell for his act. Later that night, my parents went out of town for a business dinner, and Naomi and I were watching Avatar World videos in my room when Sam appeared out of nowhere.
Hey, stupid witches, you're gonna pay for telling on me.
Get out of the way, psycho! We're trying to watch TV!
Sam pulled out a huge jar of crickets from behind his back and smashed it onto the floor. The crickets landed in our hair and all over our clothes.
Ha ha ha! Get them, my pretties!
A couple of months later, Mom and Stepdad called us into the living room to tell us we were moving into a brand new, fancy house.
So wait, we're rich again?
Yes, we have twice as much money as we had before.
Thank God! I hated being poor.
Now I can go to a fancy college.
Only the best for my daughter.
A month later, Naomi left for college in another city. I could have gone away too, but I was too worried about Sam. So I got enrolled in a college close to home. But soon after, my stepdad enrolled Sam in an expensive private school, and he started hanging out with these spoiled rich kids. I had to make sure that he didn't get into some big trouble. In my sophomore year, I was reading in the park one day when suddenly I spotted a big dog running at crazy speed with a guy my age trying to grab his leash. His name was Alex, and he was a senior in my university. I gave him my hoodie, and we ended up talking for a while. I hadn't even realized 2 hours had gone by. Oh shoot, I gotta go. I gotta check in on my little brother.
So how? How do I get your hoodie back to you? Maybe I could take you out for dinner tomorrow?
Oh, I'm sorry, but with the university and some things at home, I really don't have time to date.
Gotcha. Well, here's my number. Just let me know where I can drop it then.
He started walking away, and so did I. But a part of me felt like I was doing the wrong thing. Hey, wait! How about a coffee tomorrow?
Sounds like a good place to start.
Alex and I started dating, and being with him just made me happy. For the first time, it felt like someone was noticing what I needed and was taking care of me. But things at home with Sam just kept getting worse. He was skipping classes and getting detention all the time. And then some creepy guys started coming around the house looking for Sam when my parents weren't home. When I asked him who they were, he just told me to mind my business. Then one night, Sam came home with a bruised face. Are you okay? What's going on?
I'm fine, sis. I can take care of myself.
Sam, I can't be your babysitter forever. I have a life of my own, and one day I'll just leave.
Then leave. My life, my choices. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change.
Then he just hugged me and cried. The next morning I tried to talk to him, but he was already gone. I'm worried about Sam. I think something's going on with him.
You worry too much, honey. Sam's fine.
Have you seen his face?
He said he got hurt during football practice.
Soon after I graduated, Alex proposed. And I was over the moon! I'd have to move out, but I would only be 10 minutes away from Sam. Not that he seemed to care much either way. And on my wedding day, Sam was nowhere to be found. I kept calling him, but I couldn't get through, and we couldn't postpone the ceremony any longer. I felt so upset that he had missed this. But 2 hours later, I finally got a panicked call from Sam asking me to pick him up from some bad neighborhood. You're not a baby anymore. You just ruined one of the most important days of my life. I've always been there for you, and you couldn't even be there for me, even today. I started to give up hope of fixing him. I was fighting a battle alone, a battle that wasn't mine, and my parents just made things worse. Sam failed high school, but my stepdad paid the school board to give him passing grades. It made me so mad, but I had no say in the matter. Then one day, the company I worked for gave me an amazing job promotion if I moved to California. It was a great opportunity, but I felt unsure. Alex supported me either way, but I tossed and turned all night, thinking about what to do, and finally called Naomi.
You've got one life, Emery. You can either live it for Sam or live it for yourself.
Sam had started interning at his dad's firm, but I observed him for some weeks and saw that he still had the same kind of friends and was still blowing money and partying the same way. And I finally made my decision.
What? You're going to California? That's across the country. I need you here, Emery.
No, not really. You only need me around to clean up your messes. But I'm done doing that. Sam, you were right. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change.
Emery, please. You're all I have.
You've got Mom and Dad, and they'll take care of you in their own way. You're their kid. I just can't be your parent anymore.
But you're my big sister.
And I'll always be there for you as that. So when you decide to fix your ways, come and see me, okay? I love you, Sam, but I'm leaving. It's time.
Hi, my name is Pippalook, and I'm from Greenland. Please like and subscribe. I was raised in a small village by my amazing single mom, who was a farmer. We didn't have a lot, but we were really happy. She was my best friend. Once, when I was 5, Mom and I were at a funeral when suddenly I yelled, "Ew! Mom, did you just fart?" As I turned around to look, Mom turned red.
Of course not. This child is so silly. I've never in my life.
You're such a liar, Mom. I hear you do it all.
Pippalook, stop it.
Stinky, liar, pants on fire. By now, everyone was roaring with laughter as Mom chased me around and I ran ahead singing, "She farted, she farted." I was in a lot of trouble later, but I realized something. I'd made people laugh and I really enjoyed that. After that, I became the joker of the village. Mom thought I was hilarious too, as long as I wasn't joking about her. Once when I was 14, I'd taken my cows out for grazing in the fields, when suddenly I saw a bird drop to the ground. I ran to it and saw that it was hurt. As I tried dressing its wound, 2 strange girls came running up to me.
Hey, cow dung! That bird is my prey, so back off! Yeah, do what my boss said.
You hit this poor creature? Pick on someone your own size, witch.
Okay, you asked for it!
And with that, she jumped on me and we broke into a fight. I kicked her in her stomach, and as she howled in pain, I ran to my cow and went back home. Soon after I got there, I realized the 2 had followed me. They started complaining to Mom that I'd beat them up. She started it!
Oh, you horrible girl! I think you burst my appendix. Yeah, Auntie. I saw how your daughter kicked my boss. Wait, I'll show you.
She took some steps back and ran straight to the mean girl, kicking her hard in the stomach.
Ow! You moron! Boss, I'm sorry. So sorry.
As the 2 ran out, Mom and I were laughing our heads off. What idiots! I found out later they were some city brats who'd come on a school trip to the village. Thank God I wouldn't be seeing them around again. A few days later, when I got back from school, I was surprised to see a big car outside our house. I stepped in to find a wealthy-looking man talking to Mom.
The doctors think it's safe for Pippalook to move back to the city now. I can never thank you enough for taking care of my child.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Oh, Pippalook, how lovely. And grown up you are.
Who are you and what's going on? Mom! And what she said next turned my world upside down.
He's your real dad, Pippalook. And your real mum died soon after you were born. You had some mysterious disease, and the doctor said you had to be raised in the village till your teens. So your dad left you with me, and now he's here to take you.
You never thought of telling me this. And what am I? Another animal on your farm that you keep and give away whenever you like? I thought you were my mom.
I'm sorry, Pippalook, but you're not my real daughter. Your dad has been giving me money to take care of you, and now you must go with him.
Her words were a big blow to me. I had to leave, and I did with a heavy heart. But my dad seemed really nice, and I felt myself warming up to him. He dropped another bombshell on me, though. Apparently, I had a sister, too. Her name was Ani, and she was a year older than me. A few hours later, I arrived at my new home in the city, which was a huge mansion. As Dad led me inside, he told a servant to go get my sister, and when she walked in, I nearly had a stroke. It was one of the girls I'd met in the village, the mean girl's minion.
Cowdung, what are you doing here?
You 2 have met?
Yeah, I met Cowdung on a school trip. Why is she here, Dad?
Stop calling her that. Her name is Pippalook, and I told you I was getting your sister.
Yeah, but I thought you meant you were getting me a cute little puppy.
Dad warned her to be nice to me, but the minute he left the room, she whipped out her phone and called the mean girl.
Hello, boss. I've got some really gross news. Dad got me a sister, and it's Cowdung. Yeah, the same girl from the village. Okay, I'll keep reporting over and out.
Gosh, of all the people in the world, I had to have this mad girl as my sister. It was summer break, and school hadn't started yet. I thought I'd get to bond with Dad, but he wasn't around much. He was mostly away for work and would give us gifts when he returned. But otherwise, it was just me and Ani at home. and I tried to avoid her as much as possible. A few weeks later, Dad hosted a grand dinner for some guests, and it was the first time I'd ever been to a party like that. Suddenly, Anne came running in with some things Dad got on his last trip.
Dad, your gifts are always so cheap. Why did you get me a calculator when I asked for a new cell phone? You wait till I steal yours.
A cell phone won't change your math grade from an F, but a calculator might help you get a D. Now go away and let me introduce Pippaluck to everyone. Come here, love. Meet my daughter. Guys, this one's really smart.
For the first time, I felt bad for Annie. Dad had basically just called her dumb in front of everyone. A week later, I joined Annie's school, and as soon as we entered the building, she ran to her boss, whose name was Diana. She smirked when she spotted me.
Well, well, you turned out to be really lucky, didn't you? But don't think for a second that you actually belong here. You will always be the uncivilized monkey whose best friends are cows. Ha ha ha!
That's a compliment because cows are amazing. And yes, I'm quite lucky and rich enough to have a private zoo for donkeys like you. The kids standing around us snickered and Diana looked furious. Apparently, lots of people in school didn't like her because she was mean, and they warmed up to me instantly. I made plenty of friends in no time because I could always make people laugh. Soon, I found out about a stand-up comedy contest at school, and I immediately signed up. Just then, Annie came running and pushed me aside and wrote Diana's name on the sheet too. Jeez! The night before the show, I was rehearsing my script in my room when I noticed Annie peeking through the door. Hey, you can't steal my jokes for Diana!
As if she needs your jokes. She's gonna win anyway.
How can you be so sure?
My cat told me cats are really good at predicting the future.
Okay, then tell me something. Why do you like being Diana's minion? You're just as pretty and rich as she is.
Are you crazy? Diana's so much prettier than me.
Says who?
Diana does. She's been saying that since we were kids, and she would never lie to me. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to practice my clapping for the show tomorrow.
This girl was mental, but I'd started to realize that she wasn't evil like Diana, just really dumb. On the day of the contest, I gave my best on the stage and got quite a few laughs. And then it was Diana's turn. She stepped up in front of the mic and said,
Hello, judges! Before I begin, I'd like to tell you that I'm the most beautiful comedy queen of the school!
Suddenly, Anne laughed out loud.
Ha ha ha! Wow, very funny!
Diana glared at her.
Where was I? Yeah, so all my friends say I have the best sense of humor.
Ha ha ha! Oh my god, what a joke! You're killing me, Diana!
And she laughed so hard she fell off her chair. Everybody started laughing too, and Diana looked super embarrassed. She screamed and jumped off the stage after Anne, who yelled,
Ah! What, boss? You told me to laugh!
But later, when the results were announced, I was declared the winner! I ran home happily to tell Dad, but he wasn't home as usual. So I called him up. Dad, you won't believe this. I got first place in the comedy contest. You should have seen how everyone loved it.
Oh, that's great, honey.
Yeah, it's Dad. Hello? Can you hear me? He just hung up the phone. At that moment, I really missed my mom. She would have been so proud of me. Probably not. She said I wasn't her daughter and made me leave. She wouldn't care either. As I was going to my room, I walked past Annie's room and saw her sitting on her bed, crying like a baby. Hey, what's wrong? Can I sit here?
Yeah, sit. But a little away from me because boss says cow dung stinks.
Oh, come on now, tell me. Why are you crying? It's about Diana, right?
Yeah, I did what she told me to. I laughed at her jokes to make her win, but now she's mad at me. She didn't even post my video on her TokTok account today.
What video and what account? She showed me Diana's TokTok account, where she uploaded Ane's videos, doing absurd things like standing on a table and doing a stupid dance, jumping like a frog on the street, even acting like Diana's puppy in one video. What the freaking fish? Diana has been using my sister as a joke to get followers. Don't you see the problem with this, Ane?
What? Diana's making me popular. Maybe I'll get so famous I'll be cast in comedy movies one day.
Ane was just watching the views on her videos and smiling. This Diana was a jerk, and I had to think of some way to teach her a lesson. And the very next day, I walked into the cafeteria with Ani, and we found Diana bragging loudly to a group of girls.
This is your first time going to France, loser. I've been there so many times. Actually, I was planning on seeing the fashion show in Paris this coming weekend, but my old grandma passed away last night. Ugh, just ruined my plans!
And Ani started to wail.
Oh my god! What? Granny died last night. But wait, I spoke to her this morning, when I called your house. This doesn't make any sense, and she said you guys were going to the village on the weekend.
As Diana's lie was caught and everyone started to laugh, she looked livid.
You don't know anything because you're a complete moron! Why can't you just keep your mouth shut?
Diana raised her hand to slap her, but I stepped in and pushed her back. Don't you dare touch my sister! Stay away from her! And you're not using her anymore for stupid videos or anything else, you black-hearted donkey! I knocked her down to the ground, and Annie jumped in too! While the two wrestled and screamed, I grabbed Diana's phone and deleted the TokTok account and all the videos. We got suspended for a few days for attacking Diana, but it was totally worth it. Dad wasn't mad at me when he found out, but he went totally bonkers on Annie.
You already don't do much to make me proud, and now you've gotten yourself suspended. I don't know what I've done to deserve a dumb daughter like you.
Aine went crying to her room and I felt terrible. Later that evening, I decided I'd talk to Dad about not being so mean to her all the time. I went into his study and he wasn't there, but I found his laptop open with an email from his lawyer that left me shook. The will left by Pipaluk's mother cannot be changed. She is the sole heiress of all her mother's wealth, and you as the stepfather get nothing. We will have to find some other way to get a hold of that orphan's money. Wait! Dad was my stepdad. My mother had left me money and he was trying to take it.
Why are you snooping around?
Can you explain this email, Dad? Or should I say stepdad?
Yeah. I'm not your father. Your mother left me for someone else and had you. But then they both died. And the police left you with me because there was no one else. I left you in the village with some poor woman who wanted a child so badly she didn't even take any money. I only brought you back because I needed you to sign some papers. But it looks like it's no use. So you can just go back to your idiot mother while I figure something out.
And what about my money? You can't have it.
Oh, yes, I can. And I will. What are you gonna do about it?
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This man was pure evil. I ran upstairs and started packing my things. I wasn't staying here another minute. But as I was leaving, I heard police sirens, and there were cops at the door to arrest Dad for theft and fraud.
You called the police, Pipaluk?
No, I did. I heard everything you and Dad were talking about, Pipaluk, and then I snuck down to his study and sent his emails to the police.
How could you do this to your own father, Ane?
Because you're a crook, and you're not a good father either. My whole life you've told me I'm stupid and not good enough. Well, I deserve better than you. Take him away.
The cops took him away, and I turned to hug her tight. You're amazing, Ane.
But you're still leaving me to go with your mom, right?
No, I'm taking you with me. Mom said she took money to keep me, but I just knew in my heart that wasn't true. Your dad made her say that to make me leave with him. She's the most amazing mom, Annie, and she would love to have you too.
Are you sure?
100%. Let's go.